Hi, this is Ty Trumbull from Acquira. A big feature of our Accelerator program is the investment committee. Of course, the Accelerator program is designed to help acquisition entrepreneurs find and close a business within 7 months. And a key part of that process is the investment committee. The IC, as we like to call it, offers an opportunity for acquisition entrepreneurs to find a deal and present it to the committee in order for them to poke holes in the deal and make sure that it's a good fit and there's nothing potentially wrong with the deal. It's a sort of make or break point during the accelerator process, though many acquisition entrepreneurs will go through the IC more than once. One person that has recently completed the IC and went on to close on a business is Ken LaVertue. Ken actually liked the process of working with Acquire so much that he became a partner with us, and that's why we've got sort of extra access to him and his business. I wanted to talk to him about the investment committee and what he gained from it and what he can share with other acquisition entrepreneurs who are about to go through the process themselves. Here's our conversation. So, Ken, today I wanted to talk a little bit about the investment committee and your experience going through the committee. I know you had a bit of a unique experience, but could you just sort of walk us through what the investment committee looked like for you?
Sure. So I knew what it was from the training, but there was definitely a lot of preparation on my end that I had to do that I actually spent a lot of time on and worked to the wee hours of the morning on just making sure all my data was right. But I loved it. It was a great process. It was an expectation from the leadership team at Acquira that I would be ready and that I would have a structure to present an actual deal. And the deal that I actually presented, I wasn't even really interested in that necessarily that particular business, but I was encouraged by my coach to go ahead and just treat it like it was something I was going to buy.
Mhm.
So digging into the numbers, digging into the total addressable market, digging into the state of Florida, digging into the industry, and then multipliers and risk, I got more and more excited about the actual business.
Mhm.
And so I had to present sort of like the total addressable market, like how big was the market and the growth rate percentage wise, what was going on in the immediate area, the demand, our competition, and then what size were they, what were they doing, and then company size, and of course all of their numbers, and what would be the kind of the benefits, pros and cons of this particular business, and then sort of what I was bringing to the table for that business. And this was a business that I had never ever ever been in, so
Mhm.
there was it was more soft skills as kind of what my advantage was. And so I had to present all of that. And I think preparing for it and thinking about buying a business holistically hadn't happened until that point. I mean, I had to
Interesting.
take kind of a self inventory of my own skills and then of what it meant to actually buy a business. And what it meant for me was moving down to Florida from South Carolina. And that was a pretty big leap. So I kind of had to do like off-site investment committee sort of work with my family and what it would mean logistically for me because we have three kids that were in
Mhm.
school. And so lots of like timing things and and then after all that, the deal could potentially fall through, right? Even if you get it under
Right.
contract, go almost all the way to closing. So I had to prepare myself mentally for that, and the investment committee actually helped me through that as well.
Mhm.
So it was like sort of the softer considerations, right, with family and upheaval and what it meant, but also like what it meant to buy a business of this size and working with the numbers that I had. So it
Mhm.
was good. It was good front end work, and then they spent a lot of time with me assessing it, poking holes in it, and then plugging the holes. Like how would we plug that
Mhm.
hole, and can we
Great.
plug that, and is it a hole that we should plug? So it was really good.
And you talked a lot about the research that went into the process before the investment committee. Was it a steep learning curve? Like you'd never done granite before.
A little bit, and the way that it was presented to me, they gave me enough to sort of wrap my head around, but I had to do my own research on what things meant, and where to find the data. And Acquira, there's a reason why Acquira does that. They want to see if I kind of have the wherewithal to like go find stuff out on my own, and if I was going to
Mm.
take that kind of initiative and have tenacity to follow through with getting the information I needed to put into the PowerPoint. into the slide deck. So, but yeah, it was definitely a learning curve. Had to ask questions. I still didn't feel, I probably filled 98% of everything because I just wasn't sure how to do some things, which was great. It was fine. But I was able to be resourceful and figure it out. So yeah, there was definitely some gaps there, but just required some research and learning as I went.
Right. Right. And part of the point of the investment committee is to poke holes in the deal. Were you surprised by any of the holes they pointed out in that process?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of thought I mitigated some of that in my head because I'm always trying to be on the offensive, right? First, like I've already thought through that. This is what I'm thinking. But they come with a lot more experience than me. And so
Mm,
consequently, they found a lot more holes than I had pre-drilled, right? In the ship, so to speak. So they were good at sort of helping me think through things that I had not seen. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely, I think my biggest value right at that point, as they were poking the holes, it wasn't like Shark Tank. Like it is sort of like Shark Tank, but Shark Tank, they're a little bit cutthroat in how they mitigate because they're after a higher return. They're after, their own stake in it. And Acquira, they'll poke holes, but they'll also say, oh, that's not new or special. And this is how we have mitigated it in the past. So that's not really that big of a deal, but you should know that that hole is there and it's something you need
mm,
to address.
mhm.
And then let's look over here and have you thought about this hole? That's actually almost a showstopper. It's like a flag that we need to address. And I'm not sure if it's even addressable. And that's a severe case of like, this is a really big problem. 60% of their customers are coming from one source or one, so you have customer concentration, or
Mhm.
there's really bad key man risk. And it doesn't sound like from what you said that they've tried to help mitigate that. And so it's like those kinds of conversations that happen throughout. So there's like a sliding scale of severity of red flags and holes, and they
Mhm.
help you know what to get excited about and what to not get excited about.
Right.
So it was, or worried about, it should be, what was it, probably a better word. So yeah,
And I guess at the end of the day, what was your biggest takeaway from the investment committee?
I think just the pooled knowledge and the helpful way to start thinking about business acquisition and acquisition entrepreneurship. I didn't really have a base for that. I had started and grew and sold my business, but it's a different animal to me. I've learned so much through this process about how to actually look at a business, the difficulties of change management, and the investment committee kind of started me on that road. Like, you need to think about this when you buy this, and you should talk to this particular person in the business a lot. And like that's something I wouldn't have learned if I had just started my own business. And like there's just a lot of specific things that the investment committee was really good at opening my eyes to that I never would have known. Like I've read
Mhm.
Buy Then Build and some of these other books, but there's really specific things about that particular business that I would need help with that cut my learning curve way down. So like when I got here, I'm finding a lot of those things that they had told me at the front end. Now now I'm seeing it. It's true.
Mhm.
So it's nice to see that bridge, and it helps my learning curve go down from here down to here. So I'm just more
That's
prepared. Yeah.
right. That's great. What would you say to somebody who, hasn't gotten to the investment committee yet, but is, starting to prepare, getting closer to that point?
Yeah, I would say don't wait till you feel like you find a sweetheart deal. And it's not because I think, oh, that might be the right one you buy, but you just need to be prepared and learn first before trying to find the perfect deal to run through the investment committee. I would say
Mm,
find something that you can work with and then present it, and you'll learn so much more that when you do have the deal that is ready for your vetting, you've got greased wheels now because it's not the
mhm,
first time kind of cranking through the process. You're going through it because it's familiar and you know what you're looking for now. So you'll be better prepared. So I would say practice on a few.
mm.
And they've actually told me that. So it's good to do that. It's
That's great
practice.
advice.
Yeah,
Perfect. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk us through this today, Ken.
of course.
As I said off the top, the Accelerator program is designed to help acquisition entrepreneurs find and close on a business within about 7 months. And again, a key part of that is the investment committee. If you'd like to start your business buying journey and eventually get to the investment committee yourself, the first step is signing up for the accelerator, which you can do at the form on this page. Thanks so much for your time.